Hey Masters, if you know me and you've been listening to my podcast, you know health and nutrition is number one. Check out AdvoCare products. I am a distributor. Go to livelongersmarter.com. We got everything you could imagine for your health and nutrition goals. If you're interested, at the end of the podcast, at the very end, there'll be more information on the products. Also, LandVoice is one of our sponsors. They have amazing services. If you need leads, please check out LandVoice for FSBO, expired, circle prospecting, a dialer, whatever you need. Go to davidihill.com, affiliates. You can click the LandVoice link and all of the special opportunities will be there.
Get ready for one more sale. Inspiring you with ideas through powerful and engaging interviews with top performers of their field. Now, join us as we discuss techniques and strategies of the coolest and most successful people on the planet.
Price is based upon your location and your condition. Zillow's looking at a satellite image somewhere in the sky. And that, to me, and I think you would agree, is no way to set some sort of a value on a home. You or our listeners had a buyer or seller come back and say, well, you know, we could make this deal work if you could just throw in $2,000 of your commission. When that happens, I say, wow, I don't get that thinking. If I brought you a buyer, David, and you don't like the bottom line, and we counter back, and the buyer isn't willing to meet the bottom line, my commission isn't going to make it so. Certainly, I wouldn't want to get paid anything because this person doesn't meet your standards. So I'll wait until we find somebody that can meet your bottom line.
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Went out there, guys. We found you somebody that's been in the business for, 39 years in the real estate business. That is amazing. I mean, the majority of my listeners, I maybe aren't even half of that in age, never mind in the business that long. So anyway, she knows her stuff. And guys, she's just absolutely killing it. She's been a number one, ranked in the top 1% of realtors in the country for years. Her team has closed a minimum of 100 transactions a year. I think she said for like 25 years, guys. I mean, she's just absolutely awesome. And she's going to talk to us about how to, connect with your clients, have real conversations. Not, and the more you listen to this interview, you're going to see that she doesn't waste time. I mean, for her, there's an expectation that's set. And if the buyers don't want to step up to that expectation or fulfill that expectation, then she just doesn't work with them. And she's direct. She tells it the way it is. And I just think she's awesome. So if you want to learn how to get your offers accepted, guys, listen, I mean, this is right now probably one of the biggest challenges we're all dealing with is getting our offers accepted and dealing with wishy-washy buyers and sellers for that matter. She just gives us the tool. So Alexis Bolin, aka the Queen of Scripts, is just crushing it on Path to Mastery. Hey, listen, also, guys, don't forget, please check out my affiliates page, which is davidihill.com/affiliates. Whatever you need. You need leads for real estate. We've got all the lead providers. You need some awesome, you want to get your health to the next level, check out AdvoCare links, right? You need some awesome training. My friend Pat Hyben is Rebus University link is phenomenal. Again, I'm going through the process right now myself before I start hiring it to my, before I start offering it to my agents. It's brilliant. And also, keep us in mind for referrals. Massachusetts, we are the number one referred real estate group in Massachusetts. So anywhere in the state, if I don't have a team member to service your client there, then we will go out and I will find you the best of the best. I will spend the time myself. That's how committed we are to you. So Massachusetts, David Hill, Realtor. Oh, last thing, please just give us a review. If you would go to iTunes or Stitcher, iTunes, and give us a review, subscribe to the podcast, tell someone else about the podcast. It just really helps with our listenership, which is growing exponentially. So, guys, hey, listen, enjoy Alexis. The Queen of Scripts is killing it for us today. You rock. Hey, what's up, Masters? We have another awesome guest for you. This week, we are bringing you Alexis Bolin. Guys, Alexis has been in the real estate business for 39 years. I mean, wow. Thanks for joining us, Alexis.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor. Honestly, I heard you on Pat Hyman's show, Real Estate Rockstars, and I said, wow, that lady was awesome. You were just amazing. And you were doing like role play with Pat. You guys were going back and forth. I referred to you as the queen of scripts, and some of the stuff you had was just brilliant. And that was when I said, I really need to get Alexis on the show. So again, appreciate having you.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to help out a little bit and maybe help some other agents to get through some of the interesting objections we get from buyers and sellers.
Absolutely. So a little bit about you. Again, 39 years in the business. You've closed over 5,100 transactions. You're ranked amongst the top 1%, I guess, of real estate agents nationwide. Is that, and you've closed over 100 transactions every year for 39 years or so?
Well, not 39, but a long time.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And you've just been doing big things. You're with ERA, so thanks for taking some time with us. And yeah, hey, I would say to you, first off, like 39 years in the business has changed, right, in the last 39 years. What would you say is one of the biggest changes to real estate?
Well, I would say technology has brought most of the biggest changes to everything. Now things are so much easier. Back when I got a real estate license, if you wrote an offer on someone's listing, you had to actually carry the original offer to the other agent's office. And then if there was a counteroffer made, of course, they would have to carry it back to your office. So we were doing everything but chiseling out our offers on stone like the Flintstones back then. So I would say technology because the ease of doing business. And then, of course, our buyers are much more, and our sellers are much more empowered than they were before.
Yeah, that is so true. I'm wondering, too, going back, I've been in the business for 13 years, so even 13 years ago, it was a bit different. We didn't have this much technology. But has the technology, it's changed the business quite a bit. And I think part of it is the way we interact with people and the way we connect with people. Do you see kind of more of a disconnect now than you probably saw in the past because of the technology? What's your thought on that?
I see that mainly with younger people. They're so used to texting that they forget that this is a personal thing when people are buying or selling a house. And texting is okay if we're just passing along, hey, I want to show your listing between 2 and 4 tomorrow. But when we have important things to pass along, we need to be on the phone or we need to be eyeball to eyeball. And I feel that technology is causing our younger generation, and I say this because I'm 72, and I have a 31-year-old granddaughter and a 16-year-old granddaughter, that the communication skills of our younger people are not what they should be because of it.
Well, that's why I brought that up, and I think we see a lot more these days. Unfortunately, agents will submit an offer, and the next thing you know, you got a text, and you're trying to go back and forth via text or email and negotiate an offer, and then everything's based on perception, right? If the buyer's agent's having a bad morning, he could completely misread a text message, and then a deal falls apart. Something you said on Pat's show, I don't know I think it was you mentioned it was along these lines, like the biggest challenge in real estate is I'm misquoting, but it was the agents, right? Like the biggest challenges buyers and sellers have are the agents.
Yes.
What was that? Tell us that again. I thought that was brilliant.
The biggest issues we have with putting a sale together are between the two agents and not between the buyer and the seller, because the agents, at least one of them, maybe both of them, but at least one of them cops some sort of an attitude or has a preconceived notion about what the house should sell for or what the seller should leave with the house or vice versa. And they put their own personal information in there and they put their personality in. And when they get personality involved, a lot of times we don't get a sale together. Realtors need to understand that we have a job, which is to represent both parties. I don't care what your piece of paper says. I'm a buyer's agent. I'm a seller's agent. We have an obligation to this transaction to put it together to the best of our ability with what the buyer and the seller want done, not what we want done. Not our house. It's not up to us. I mean, God knows that I've been involved in sales of homes that if they said to me, you could have it, I would say, no, thank you. It's not my choice. This is a buyer's choice and a seller's choice. And so I'm all about putting the deal together. I'm not about playing king of the hill with another agent, which happens. Sometimes I have to remind the agent of that. I have no need to play king of the hill with anybody. And I don't want to do that. You know, I learned many years ago, my mother and my grandmother were smart as tacks, and they told me not to let anybody else cause me to run their race. And so when you get sucked in by another agent and they're pulling your chain, then you're running their race, not your race. So I never run anybody else's race. I am very level-headed, and I stick to the facts. I try to keep all the emotions out. I try to keep everybody calm, and then we get our deals together. I just closed on one this morning that was a 3-month deal with a lot of problems, and the other agent said to me, I just can't thank you enough. This is closed without your expertise and patience. This was the buyer's business. And so my job is to keep everybody's oar in the water.
Yeah.
And keep everybody focused on the outcome.
And we have a class called Bulletproofing, and we look at it as, hey, I'll take responsibility of both sides of the transaction if I have to. Because sometimes we may have to be the bigger person in the transaction when you are dealing with somebody who has a huge ego or something like, or whatever the case may be, right? So I don't have an issue maybe helping that person, coaching that person, letting that person think they won, as long as we get the end result.
I'm with you. I set the stage when another realtor contacts me that they're sending in an offer. And my first thing would be to say to you, my job is to help you get your offer accepted. And that's what I want to do. In order to do my job, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? And that's when I want to know, you know, what the buyer's thinking, where they're coming from. What's the most important thing on here? If my seller thinks I have to put some red ink on this offer, what is the biggest no-no as far as the buyers go? So I can try to stop them from doing that. And so I want you to know right off the bat, I'm with you. I'm not against you. Let's put this together.
Yeah, so we're on the same side. We're a team. That's what we're looking for, right? We're going in this together. We're a team. You have a buyer. I have a seller. They both love this house. Let's figure this out, right?
Right. That's exactly right. My guy wants to sell. Your guy wants to buy. What can we do to do it?
Yeah, I love that. All right, so again, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit because, you know, Queen of Scripts, that's what Pat had labeled your podcast episode, and I listened to it. It was brilliant. So I'd love you to do some role play with me, and we can kind of talk about some of the challenges we're having now, you know, with buyers. And what part of the country are you from again, Alexis?
Well, I was born on the Jersey Shore in Long Branch, New Jersey, not far from Red Bank.
Okay.
But I lived as a young child in eastern Kentucky, so I've got this southern accent from there, but now I'm in Pensacola, Florida, which is in the Panhandle, and it's the world's most beautiful white sand beaches. So if people want to come to Florida, don't go to South Florida and be crowded up with all those people. Come to North Florida, and we don't have that many people, and our beaches are prettier.
Love it, love it. I got to learn how to ask better questions. I should have just asked you where you sell real estate. But thank you for that. So in Pensacola, Florida, are you guys dealing with real low inventory?
Yes.
Okay.
We're pretty normal for the rest of the nation.
Okay, perfect. So how are you dealing with, like, let's say a property comes on the market, you're working as a buyer's agent, you're with a buyer, all of a sudden you go to an open house, there's 30 other groups of people there, and this is the perfect house for them. How do you handle that situation with the buyer that wants to make an offer, but he wants to make an offer like, the house is on, I don't know, a couple $1,000s below asking price, when you know it's got to go over asking?
Well, I think, first of all, you need to set that scenario up with the buyer before you get in the car. So I set up everything with the buyer and the seller in the beginning, David, because I don't want any issues later down the road. I want them to understand the market we're working in. So I would say to you, David, I don't know like where you came from, but it's different here in Pensacola perhaps. that we don't have very much inventory, and the best houses sell first because they're the best houses. And the reason is because there's going to be 10 or 15 other people looking at these houses just like you are, and they recognize it's a good house. So you're going to be up against some competition for buying the house. And in order to purchase the home you want, you're probably going to have to pay over asking price, and you're going to have to make your offer as good as you can. So is that something you're prepared to do?
Now, is this at a meeting at the office before you guys even go out? So the first step is getting them in?
Yes. The first step is sitting down and talking about the market, asking you about your wants and needs, and discussing our market, telling you how things in Pensacola may be different than things where you come from, because, you're coming from the land of apples and we're the land of oranges. And so although we may be all fruits, we're a little different. And so I want to talk with them about that. Then we're going to, David, pick the best of what's out there in MLS for us to look at. We're going to discuss your wants and needs, and then we'll schedule some properties to look at. So I want to go over all that with you. I want to discuss, did you get your pre-approval letter? Because that we need before we get in the car, because if we find the right house, we're going to stop, go immediately back to the office, write the offer. I need to have that pre-approval letter ready to send with the offer. And I want to discuss all that up front. So you preset the stage so that when we find the house, you're ready. I also would say, David, if I do my job right and you explain to me what you're looking for and I can see through your eyes, then we might only have to look at one or two houses and that be the right house. So I want you to know that I've done this before, and sometimes we only look at one house and we go back and write an offer. So that may very well happen to you.
I love that.
I just want to let you know that it's okay when we find the right house to stop looking and let's go back and write the offer before somebody else does. Because if you wait till the end of the day, you may have 5 offers on it.
So what if you get the buyer that says, well, I really need to probably look at 5 or 10 houses before I make an offer on one?
And I would say, David, that's fine with me, because my motto on my desk is, if you like it, I love it. So it doesn't matter to me. I have a house already. So I'm trying to help you find, if you have to look at 10 houses to make a decision, that's okay with me. As long as you understand that if house number 2 is what you really loved, by the time we look at house number 10, it may have offers on it. It may be completely under contract. And that's okay with me. I have no problem with that, as long as you have no problem with that. So how do you feel about that?
No, I feel good. I love it. Yeah. So now you go out, you found the house. It's the perfect house. There's 8 offers coming in. No, the buyers, well, I'd like to make an offer, but why don't we offer, it's on for $300. Let's say we want it for $295, arbitrary numbers. How do you deal with that conversation?
Well, I would say, and that's fine, David, I'm going to write up the offer that you want me to write up. But before I do so, do you mind if I ask a few questions?
No, not at all.
Okay. So this is what you really want to buy, right, David?
Yeah, I think it fits everything we've been looking for.
Okay. So how would you feel if we offer $295 and somebody else purchases at full price or over?
Yeah, I mean, I want it. I definitely want it. I probably wouldn't feel great, but I'd like to try to, save a few dollars. Okay.
So it wouldn't bother you. Is that what I'm hearing? If we make the low offer and you lose it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it based on what we've looked at, it's probably the right house. So I guess it would bother me, but at the same time, I just don't want to overpay Alexis.
Well, and that's where the appraiser comes in, David. The appraiser's not going to let you overpay for it because it's subject to appraisal. So if it doesn't appraise, then you have an opportunity to renegotiate price with the seller or not buy it. Wouldn't you say that is what's going to happen?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so based on that happening, do you still want to offer the $295 and see if the seller will take it, or do you just want to buy the house?
I want to buy the house.
Okay, so then wouldn't you agree that the only way to be assured of buying the house, or we hope to be assured of buying the house, is to go ahead and offer the seller the asking price, and then you're assured, perhaps, of getting the house if they don't get some other offers and bid the price up.
So I'm going to stop you there because right now in our market, literally, they would probably have to offer $320 or $325 to get that house.
Okay.
So how would you deal with that situation?
So then I would say to you, remember, David, we talked before we ever went out to look, and I showed you in multiple listing that these houses are selling for 10 to 15% above the asking price. So if you go in at $295 on a $300,000 house, it's very likely, based on the history we see of the way sales are going in our area, that you're not going to buy it. So you may only have one good shot at buying this house. And that means that you're going to have to go up in your price in order to buy the house. And so likely right now there's other agents writing buyers, and they're telling their buyer the same thing. Only one of you is going to buy the house. That's the person that gives the seller the best price and the best terms. So if it were me and I wanted to buy this house, then I wouldn't go in under price. I'd go in over the price based upon what our average is in multiple listing, and I'd go a little bit over that if it were me. But it's not me, it's you. So if you want to buy the house, are you comfortable with doing that?
Well, what do you think I should offer?
Well, it looks as though houses in that neighborhood and houses that are like the one you're looking at, they've been selling for $20,000 over the asking price. So it looks to me like that's probably going to have to be. In fact, you may have to be at $325 just to be the one to get it. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, that seems like a lot for, it's on at $325. I don't know.
You see, that's up to you, David, not up to me. I mean, we will offer anything you want to offer as long as you understand there are other people making offers and you may not get the house, and it'll be okay with you if you don't get it.
Okay. I love that question. You asked me that before, too. It'll be okay. It's more of a statement, I guess, than a question, but it'll be okay if you don't get it. So what if I said...
David, can I interrupt?
Yeah,
for a moment?
Absolutely.
It's always a question. It's never a statement. You notice how I ask you questions. Everything is a question. Would it be okay with you if you don't get it? Will you be okay with that?
Yeah, got it. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Because what I'm causing you to do is make the decision, not me. What I'm saying to you is it doesn't matter to me. I'm here to help you.
Okay.
I'm going to do whatever it is you decide to do.
All right.
But I want you to consider the outcome and tell me if you'd be comfortable if that were the outcome.
So what if I say yes? Yeah, you know what? If I miss it, then hey, I guess we'll keep looking. Well, how would you handle that conversation?
Then I would tell you, David, at this point, just make your highest and best price. If we don't get it, we don't get it.
Okay. And do you use that as like a learning experience, or where do you go from there? If they offer $300 and obviously it's going to go for $320, then what?
Well, it will be a learning experience to them. A lot of times they don't trust the agent, although you feel like you've got their trust. A lot of times they don't. I shouldn't say they don't trust the agent. They just don't quite believe it because they haven't had the personal experience. So it's kind of like a child. You've just baked something in the oven. The oven door is hot. The kid is on their way to the oven door, and you say, "Stop! Don't touch that. It's hot." And the kid looks you straight in the eyeball, sticks their hand on the oven, and then starts to cry. You see, me as a mom, that happened, and I just stood there and let her cry. And then I went and picked her up and hugged her and said, Mommy said it was hot. Next time I tell you that, please listen. And that's how the buyers are. Sometimes you have to let them touch the hot oven before they understand the pain.
What up, Masters? Don't worry, we're going to get you right back to the show. And if you're looking for more ideas, techniques, tools, and strategies, get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. Simply pause the show, go to thesalesplaybook.net, or go to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook. You rock. Enjoy the rest of the show. All right, so let's go on a seller side now, Alexis. Let's talk about getting a seller now that's willing to list the house at the right price. And right now, reality, I mean, geez, we just listed one at 416. We got 419. Because the seller listened. We listed one at 269. We ended up with 285. So how do you deal with the seller who's like, well, the houses in my neighborhood are selling for blah, 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 and they're looking to list at 5 to 10% over price?
Well, I would say, David, you have a choice. You can either price the house to sell or price it to sit, and the choice is yours. If you price the house to sell, people will pay you what you're asking for. They will give you the best favorable terms possible. They will let you be king of the hill in the transaction. You will have no buyer jerking you around about nitty things. And to me, my experience tells me that's the best way to go. I've sold 5,100 homes, and I would say at least 95% of those sellers listened and priced the house to sell instead of sit. And so we've gotten full price or more than full price for it. We've gotten a buyer who really wants to buy the house and will go all out to get it and do anything and everything possible. So we can go the other way and let it sit for a while and have to reduce the price and then maybe have to deal with a buyer who isn't so nice. So what do you feel like you'd like to do based on what you want your experience to be in selling the house?
Well, I mean, I know I met another agent and I know you sold a lot of houses, Alexis, and you got a great reputation in this area, but I met with another agent that they told me I could probably get another 30,000. They wanted me to list at 30,000 higher than the price you're telling me. And I see it on Zillow, and Zillow has it higher as well.
David, I'm so glad you brought up Zillow. Everybody does. There's a school somewhere sellers go to, and they all have the same questions, except I haven't been able to find that school in 39 years. So let's talk about Zillow for a minute. When was the last time Zillow came to look at your house?
I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean? Look at my house?
Has Zillow ever been in your house?
No, they haven't been in the house, but I think they know the neighborhood and stuff.
Has Zillow got a representative in your area that goes and looks at the neighborhood?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I didn't really think of that. I'm not sure.
Okay. So do you mind if I give you the answer to the question since I know it already?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Zillow doesn't come and look at anybody's house. Zillow's looking at a satellite image, and they've never been in your house. Zillow was the person to set the value on the house. Then the buyer's lender would never send an appraiser out to actually look at the property and look at the neighborhood, because price is based upon your location and your condition. And you see, Zillow doesn't know anything like that. Zillow's looking at a satellite image somewhere in the sky. And that, to me, and I think you would agree, is no way to set some sort of a value on a home. They've never seen it. The old saying, real estate is local, it is. Because Zillow could sell everything. We wouldn't need a real estate agent, and we certainly wouldn't need an appraiser, and Zillow could just do it all. But guess what? Zillow isn't able to. And in fact, David, you're probably not aware, but there's a lawsuit, a couple of them, against Zillow right now, because one lady is suing them because they undervalued her house, and she's had trouble selling it because for some reason, buyers like you, sellers, tend to believe Zillow. So it'll be interesting to see how the lawsuit comes out. So would you rather take Zillow's word for it or what things are actually selling for in the area?
Well, what about the other agent? I mean, the other agent thought we should start higher. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously I'm meeting with you. We have a great reputation, like I said, but they are telling me I should probably start 25,000 higher because of this market. Okay.
So my question to you is, are you looking to hire an agent because they're going to promise you a high price? Or are you looking to hire an agent who is competent, who is skilled, who is good at negotiation, who can get this to closing if there are any issues? Because from what I hear from you, you would be sucked in to listing the house with an agent who promises you a higher price versus someone who tells you the reality of things, shows it to you, and has excellent negotiation skills. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, I want all those skills, and at the same time, I'd like to, at least try to start higher and see if we can get the higher number.
Okay, and let's role play this then, David. We start higher and it doesn't sell, then what?
Oh, so this is what you say to the seller? Let's role play this?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Okay. That's brilliant.
So if we do that, David, and we start higher and we get lookers, no offers, which tells us, that's a pricing problem. So what are we going to do next?
I don't know. I guess we probably have to reduce the price.
Okay. So how long do you think we should wait if we price it higher and we're not getting offers before we reduce the price?
I don't know. I guess that's your job, right? To tell me. I guess I don't know. What would you think? Well,
what the other agent tell you? What's going to happen if it doesn't sell for the price they told you? Or did they explain it to you?
No, we didn't have this conversation.
Okay. So I look at everything very logically, David. So if we go above the asking price, and I don't care if you're trying to sell a table, a chair, a car, or a house, the public is well informed nowadays. They can go online without the realtor's help, even Realtor.com. They can click on it, and it will tell them everything that's sold in your neighborhood without the realtor even being there. So assuming that we can fool the buyers, I guess that's what the agent's thinking. I don't know what the agent's thinking. We put the higher price on there. If the price isn't commensurate with the market, then do you really think the buyer's going to pay the price, or are you pricing it high so you feel you've got room to negotiate?
I really hadn't thought about that. I mean, I'd like some room to negotiate, but I don't know. I'm not. I really hadn't thought about that. We just, like I said, I mean, she told us it was just the different price. I mean, you're saying $425. She was saying closer to $450. So that's kind of like $25,000 in our pocket.
If it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't promise you a price, David. That other agent must know something more than I do. My crystal ball's in the shop. I can't promise you we're getting up in the morning. Wouldn't you agree?
I guess. I mean, I hope so. So would you go along the lines of, how did that agent come up with that price? Or did they explain to you like how they came up with the price? You know what I mean? Or did she give you comps or anything like that?
I would ask what comps they use. Are they different than what we're looking at here? Are they from another neighborhood? So what comps did they use? Did they leave you anything that we could look at and compare with?
Okay.
That's where I would go with it. What comps did they pull? If we pull the wrong comps, we get the wrong price. So are these sales in your neighborhood, nearby neighborhoods? Or did you just tell the seller you thought you'd like to have a higher price, the agent you'd like to have a higher price, and they agreed with you? Because you should never hire an agent based on price. And because the agent doesn't set the price, the market does. If you really want to get a good handle on market value, rather than pick an agent price based on the price, pick the best agent who has the skills necessary and the marketing necessary to get your home sold. Call an independent appraiser and get it appraised. Okay. Don't pick an agent based on the price they give you, because if I really want your listing, David, I can even top that agent and tell you, let's price it at $500. Then 30 days later, after I've got y'all signed up on my year listing here, I can come back and tell you, oops, I really thought we could get $500. I was overly optimistic, and we can't. We have to reduce the price.
Yeah.
But now I have you under contract. You see, I don't that way. I'd rather tell you the truth up front and lose your business than to tell you a lie and buy your business.
Yeah. All right. Love that. Yeah, that's great. All right. That makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure there's times where, you may have to take it a little overpriced as long as they're motivated enough. Is that true as well? Like, I like to look at motivation will trump price, because if I know that, no matter what, they're going to adjust the price to be at some point reasonable or the right price, I'll still take the listing. Is that your thought process, or do you just walk away?
No, I will do that if, for example, you tell me, David, that you're moving to Texas and, you have to be there in 90 days. You have a motivation factor that's greater than most sellers. So I'm going to say, okay, tell you what, David, I don't want you to feel like you left a nickel on the table. So let's price it at the higher price. But if we're not getting action in 15 days, we need to do something. Because if we're right, in a market that we have no inventory in, the buyers will come, look, and buy. Or they'll come and look and not buy based on what else is out there that they've seen. Or they may not come at all because they feel the price is too high and there's other homes that are priced better and they're going to go look at those. But don't give it any more than 2 weeks in a hot market. Don't chase the market down. Correct as quickly as you can if we find out we're wrong.
All right.
Is that okay?
That is okay. And I just want to put this out there for my listeners. This is a mistake I made a few years back where I met with a seller and, they wanted to list the house for $325. I knew the house was worth like $290. Okay, so basically I held my ground on, I can't list it less than that. The lady really liked me, wanted to list with me, listed with another agent. I saw the listing come on and I started, look at that stupid agent, listed the house too high, blah, blah, blah. In a week, all of a sudden, it's at $315. The next week, it's at $299, right? All of a sudden, it sells and sells for just exactly. So I was right on the number, but my problem was I didn't get the listing. And the reason I share that with everybody is because I really want everybody to get that motivation trumps price. So if you, like you said, Alexis, you got a client, they need to be in Texas in 90 days. Well, hey, then you can dance with them a little while.
But here's the other thing I would do. I'd go a step further. I would print out that MLS, and that would be part of my listing packet that I had with me, because I carry stuff with me that whatever the occasion arises, I can pull it out and say to you, David, this happened to another seller who got sucked in by the offer of a higher price by another agent. So I want to show you in MLS what happened to that house.
I love that. That's great.
Is that what you'd like to happen?
That's
and you
brilliant.
can find tons of them in MLS like that.
Oh, yeah. Because, I bet you if she would have priced it at $300, it probably would have sold for $300, but she ended up with like $285. So
I'll bet you, David, if you had priced it at $300, you'd ended up with at least $305 because you'd have had multiple bids.
It's a few years back, so possibly not. But anyway, I get what you're saying. So I want to listen. We had a conversation the other day about scripts, and I got your take on scripts. My take's a little bit different. But I mean, obviously, you are very fluid with your conversation. You've been doing it a long time. You know what to say. For you, it's more. You said it's more like an intuitive thing, right? Like where I said it's more like practicing scripts. I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way, but I think for most of us, I guess what makes you really good, before we even answer that, go there. Like, why would you say you're really, really good at having these conversations?
Well, I'm able to kind of read the other person, even if I'm only on the phone, because there's a lot to what you say in the way you say it, the way you answer the questions that tells me about you. And that causes me to answer accordingly. So I would say not only should people learn scripts and dialogues, and if you need to memorize them, there's nothing wrong with that. We had to learn to, recite the Pledge of Allegiance when we were kids. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's no wrong way to do things. The problem is people don't do it, period. So they need to memorize them. They also need to study personality styles, so that they can tell when they're talking to someone what their personality style may be. And then they can answer accordingly. Because if you are abrupt with certain individuals or short with them, you hurt their feelings. But if you're working with a driver-type personality, that's what they want. Get me to the bottom line. Don't fluff nothing for me. Cut to the chase. I'm busy. Let's get her done. So you've got to know who you're talking to, because all the scripts in the world won't work if you haven't figured out this person. So you've got to be able to do that. And I was a waitress 18 years, David, before I went into real estate. So I've been in the people business my entire life. You just have to learn to read body language when you're with them, when you're on the phone with them, the voice inflection, the way they answer their questions, what they say tells you a lot about them. You can tell instinctively, once you know that, what to do. And that works for me.
Okay, well, obviously you're really, really good at it, and you've been really, really effective with it. So what would you say is the biggest mistake probably you see most agents making when it comes to this? We'll call it influence, right? Influencing people to make the right decisions, or helping people make the right decisions.
Putting their own personality in it. That's the biggest mistake they make. They overlook what's best for the client. And they think about what they would do instead of what should be done based on this situation. We need to be more objective, and we're not. We get involved. We get all wrapped up in the personality of what's going on. So I will tell you that the sooner you can let go of the outcome, the sooner your income will go up.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm not tied to the sale in any way. I'm not emotional about it. I'm not tied to the sale. I want to help you, David. But I have to know that you're willing to help yourself, because if you're not willing to help yourself, if you don't want it more than I do, then I can't help you. So how many times have you or our listeners had a buyer or seller come back and say, well, we could make this deal work if you could just throw in, $2,000 of your commission. Ever happened to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So when that happens, I say, wow, I don't get that thinking. I really don't. So if you don't mind, David, I'm going to share my thoughts on that since you asked me a question. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. If I brought you a buyer, David, and you don't like the bottom line, and we counter back, and the buyer isn't willing to meet the bottom line, my commission isn't going to make it so. This is not your buyer. I say throw them back, just like fishing. Some of them are keepers and some of them aren't. And we move on to the next person, because our listing agreement says we get paid when we find you a buyer ready, willing, and able to the terms you set. Certainly I wouldn't want to get paid anything because this person doesn't meet your standards. So I'll wait until we find somebody that can meet your bottom line. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, all right. Well, so, why don't we just take this offer and move on? All right. That's good stuff.
Exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens, because to me, that's an insult. I mean, I don't tell them that, but you can tell by my answer it is. But what I went back to you with was something perfectly logical.
Yeah.
My commission is not going to make this sale. I can throw in the commission, David, and this guy who won't do what is necessary in the first place to buy this house is going to be a patootie all the way to closing. And personally, I don't want to work with somebody like that, and I don't think you should either, but that's up to you. But my commission isn't all about this sale. That's what I get paid after we perform, not before.
Good stuff, yeah.
David, God knows there was a time when I needed the money, when I was a single mom working 3 waitress jobs with no child support, no alimony back in the late 60s. And I worked 3 waitress jobs to feed and clothe us, and I never asked for anything from anybody. And when I really needed the money, I didn't do it. And you know what, David? God's been good. And so I can wait on this sale until you're happy.
That's great. No, you just took yourself right out of the equation. I that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. All right, so a lot of really great stuff here, guys. I mean, everybody listening to this, man, we gave you some amazing nuggets, not just on buyers, sellers, but also, keeping your commission. There's no reason we should have to give away our fees. What's the one thing, though, Alexis, you want our listeners to take from this interview today?
Learn your answers. Be prepared when you go into a meeting with a buyer or a seller. Be prepared for the questions they're going to ask you. You need to learn answers for the 20 most common things that buyers and sellers say so that you have that already in your arsenal. Practice it. Do not be afraid to say what needs to be said. What's the worst thing that could happen? Like our role play with the seller who wanted me to take $2,000 off the commission to make the deal. If they find that you are ready to walk, they will gravitate towards you. So when you are scared, when you are begging for something, you are in no position to negotiate. And you're certainly not in a position to negotiate for that buyer or seller. So you need to learn, you need to make them know that you're the best there is. And, you know, you wouldn't ask them in their job to take less on their fee. So therefore, we don't expect to either. I go into it with the expectation that I'm going to do business with the people as long as the people are willing to do business and they're upfront and honest. Otherwise, I go in with the idea that I don't have to have the listing and I don't have to make the sale. And so I tell all of your listeners, if you find yourself out on a Saturday night with some sellers who are totally unrealistic, then this is the time to drag out that arsenal of scripts and dialogues, the things that you've been too scared to say to somebody, and practice on those people because they've ruined your Saturday night and you aren't getting the listing anyway. So the sooner you learn to speak the language that you need to speak, better off you are, the higher your income will go, and people will respect you. I'm all about telling the truth, being upfront with people, and here's what I find. People who are like me like me. There's enough people like you that will gravitate to you because of your honesty and integrity. And that's what I would say to the people above all else. Be honest and don't let anybody stamp on your integrity because that's all you've got.
That's perfect. Perfect way to wrap it up, Alexis. For our listeners, you're in Pensacola, Florida. How do our listeners get in touch with you for referrals?
All right. My cell number is 850-777-0275. My office is 850-478-5446. And my email is alexisera@aol.com.
Perfect. Hey, I just want to thank you for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hey, Masters, you guys know how important health and nutrition is to me. I just want to talk to you a little bit about products I use called Advocare. I've been using these products for about a year and a half now, mostly just for energy. They've got a really awesome drink. It's called Spark. If you want to check out anything, I would tell you, go check out the energy drink Spark. That's what I did for, like I said, almost a year and a half without even trying any of their other products. And then this past January, a bunch of us, January 4th, decided we were going to do the 24-day challenge, which is a 10-day cleanse and then 14 days of just really healthy eating, vitamins, meal replacement, just awesome 24 days just to kind of get yourself on track and get into some right habits. So Richie Ryan did it with us. Guys, he lost... Today's February 5th. I think he's at 24 pounds lost since January 4th. Melissa at our office lost 6 pounds. Min at our office lost 5 pounds. Guys, I mean, listen, it's amazing. Regardless, if your goal is losing weight, my goal wasn't losing weight. I did the challenge just so I could experience it. And, I lost a few pounds, but now I put some weight back on because I started using some of the supplements and the protein powder and all the other stuff. So now I've gained about 3 pounds of muscle and just feel awesome. My energy's through the roof. So whether you're looking for energy or you're looking for just wellness, I mean, they've got some amazing green products that I love taking before I go to bed. Or if you're looking for performance, athletic products, we've got the athletic performance products. And then just active, if you're an active adult, maybe getting a little older in the age and you want to just keep everything working the right way and functioning. Listen, Gary Keller said it best. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? And I just love that. So, hey, I just ask you to check out Advocare's products. I'm a distributor, so I'd love to help you, talk to you about your nutrition and health goals. You go to livelongersmarter.com, livelongersmarter.com. If you love what you heard on this episode and you're looking for more techniques, tools, strategies, and ideas, simply go to thesalesplaybook.net and get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. You can also go directly to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook, and buy your copy today.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of The Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.